Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohsin Shiraz, representing Global Shapers Faisalabad Hub. And today, the topic of our Hub Talk will be about the impacts of coronavirus on our economy, on the businesses, and the local business community. So before we start, we have a very special guest with us. As you know, this pandemic have like changed our whole lives. The entire system has changed. We need to adopt a new system. So every sector of your lives, your businesses, your economy have been changed. So for that, we plan to have a very expert opinion from the business community people. So today we have Ahmed Said with us. Please, Ahmed, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers?
Walaikum salam, Mohsin. First of all, I would like to thank you for the steps the global shippers have taken in the
Thank you.
recent past
Thank you.
regarding the pandemic situation. They have been distributing sanitization facilities as well as the ration packages that they have distributed before. It was a great social work that you guys carried out, and I really want to congratulate you regarding that. I am Ahmed Said Mohsin. As you know, you have met me before.
Yeah.
I belong from a textile family background, and we are working under the name of Rashid Fabrics. Uh, Other than that, I'm also involved in social activities as well. We have got our own trust registered with the government of Pakistan, named under Haji Abdul Rashid Lahori Welfare Trust. That is my under my grandfather's name. We have got a 200 bed hospital with us, as well as we have got a government girls high school that we have adopted, accommodating around 1,300 female students on Sargoda Road.
Okay. So Ahmed, thank you for your introduction. I would like to ask you very general questions regarding to your field, and as you are an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, and you belong to a very like you are the third generation in your business. So you have seen Faisalabad from a very in depth. I would like to ask you, how does this the COVID-19, have impacted the industry, the local businesses, and people, all the stakeholders who are connected to industry? How do you think they are affected, or would you like to share some in-depth knowledge about it?
Also, like in Faisalabad, we have got two major sectors: agricultural sectors as well as industrial sector. In agriculture sector, Faisalabad is a great sugarcane belt as well as a cotton belt.
Right.
The 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 economy here is divided into two parts, like in industry as well. If you see the industry in our industry, the major industry being the textile,
Yeah.
starting from ginning of textile to the made-ups. We have got a whole lot of textile in our circle. Obviously, we have seen with the coronavirus, we have seen two major impacts. First was the lockdown itself. The lockdown, mainly, everything was shut down. So every business was shut down that time. It has impacted that time that there was no manufacturing output, or there was no output going on, as well as there was no salaries or wages. If we talk about the lower sector of our society, there was no salaries or wages given to the laborers working that time.
Right.
In Faisalabad, if you see, the lockdown happened in the other countries, like our major import partners like Europe and Americas. With the pandemic situation going on that time, our exporters felt the shocks of pandemic that time earlier than it happened in Pakistan. They lost their orders. Their shipment was stopped and everything was halted that time. There was a huge impact that time. Other than that, the local industry after the lockdown, they were less purchasing power parity in our society. Our labor couldn't afford the local textile garments. They were not being necessary to them, so it has impacted them heavily.
So Ahmed, let's put it in a simpler way to make our viewers understand more clearly. Would you like to tell us let's talk about the labor community because as you know, Faisalabad is a labor-oriented market. All the businesses are giving to like a big employment rate. I would like to ask you, how does the lower community, the working class, the people who are working like as a labor in the industry, which who are connected, they are the main stakeholders. How do uh, this COVID-19 have impacted their lives, other than their wages or stuff like that?
Obviously, they have been in sitting in home. There was not much things to do for them. They were sitting home. There have been food shortages. What we have seen. Also, there due to restrictions, they couldn't move around. There has been a health crisis as well due to corona. Like the hospitals were not admitting. There were not many ventilators available other than corona patients. So other than corona, there has been a lot of impact in health sector as well.
So Emma, do you agree with me? This unemployment, which is going to be caused or which is already being caused, will it take to the higher? Uh, what do you call it? Like the crime will increase in coming days due to this unemployment.
Yes, what we have seen so far, the crime rate has also increased. We have heard the news about even the police mobiles being captured by the thieves. We have seen other news as well, like many people have got bandits in their houses. So there has
Right.
been a problem.
Okay. So Emma, let's move on to like another level. Like I'll be talking about. Let's talk about national level. Other than Faisalabad, uh, we have like major cities like Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, Sialkot, which are basically contributing a very big numbers to our exports. How do you think this entire COVID thing have impacted their exports?
With Pakistan on national level, if you see, then Pakistan services industry was growing sector. We have got 62% of our economy related to services sector.
Right.
Uh, Unfortunately, our service sector was not matured enough. We haven't got digital uh, digital scope of industry like we see in other countries, other developing countries. So we were still developing, and this has impacted greatly on our national level as well.
All right. And what about what's your opinion about you've been listening to news, you've been watching channels, and definitely you have a very good exposure of the international market. What do you think? Big economies like BRIC, Brazil, Russia, India, China, which were like moving very fastly on the index of the growth. What do you think? How will the entire structure of this developing nations will change due to Corona, like this COVID-19?
Mohsin, our Prime Minister quoted in Parliament 2 days ago. If I talk about international level first, then I will come to BRICS. That our economy, the world will be losing around $13 trillion of GDP.
Yeah,
That the figure itself is a huge amount, and that will
right.
impact the world greatly.
Yeah,
So what we have seen is that pandemics obviously has impacted heavily on the international market. The unemployment in other countries have increased as well.
right.
You see the loss of GDP, loss of manufacturing going on in other countries as well. So there has been a huge impact overall.
Okay. So Emma, are you like happy or are you convinced the steps which have been taken in the past or which are being taken currently by the government by our institutions to cope or to fight with this corona? Are you like satisfied as a citizen?
You see, this COVID has been a new thing to everyone in the
Yeah,
world.
it's a new thing
So
for everyone.
I don't blame anyone currently right now that the steps were taken wrong or right, because
Yeah,
we don't know. We have seen certain examples of developed country that has been a great failure. Some in developing countries that has been a success. We see when we see compare the United States and the European economy to the Far Eastern countries like Vietnam, South Korea, and Thailand, and in certain way Malaysia and Indonesia, they have coped the COVID-19 better than the developed nations. So it has been experiment everywhere. In while we're talking about Pakistan, in Pakistan we followed lockdown previously. Lockdown obviously has got benefits as well as flaws. In
Yeah.
if we talk about benefit, there were fewer cases compared to our population. There were no shortages of medical staff or medical facilities that time when the lockdown was going on. But our economy was really disturbed that time. To boost up our economy, our government took step of opening of the lockdown, and it happened. It gave a very bad response to the COVID. We got our hospital fully booked. Everything there was shortage of everything. There were no medical facilities.
So
What our government,
are
what
you
our
really
government.
sorry? Are you really convinced with this thing? Like lockdown was not was a good measure, precautionary measure. But as we are talking about on the business side, what do you think? Like, is it the right way to have a lockdown and completely shut down a city with so many people getting unemployed? And what do you think? Is it the right way to move on?
The thing is that our economy was already falling. That we have seen in the reports published by the government previously, that we have been in a negative GDP in the current time. What our government could have done is that what has been an impact on the because of the fewer GDP previously is that our businesses were already losing. They didn't have a good health to sustain that time. The economic policy, if you see it, our interest rate was near to 8%. In other countries, if you see the interest rate has been negative in some countries, or in some countries you see only 1% or 0.5% interest rate.
Yeah.
So these steps were not taken that time. These steps should have been taken. Our government is didn't facilitate the businesses that time, like the other countries that like our neighbor India has also taken steps to reduce the interest rate drastically.
But
So
don't you think? India have like a very severe kind of lockdown, and their economy crashed very rapidly. Although they have reduced the interest rate and stuff, but they were not able to cope with uh, the declining of their growth rate. So what I would like to know about is you are directly connected with the banking side, like the banking sectors and other facilities from different institutions. Do you think are they having a right way? Like they have given like uh, a period of 3 months or 4 months, as per my knowledge, for the credit facility, like that the company should not pay the interest and stuff like that. But in the coming days, I guess it's not going to work out. What's your opinion on that? Like, the, should the institute or bank should continue this lower interest rate policy?
obviously that needs to be done. We have seen in the recession of 2008 to 2008 recession. That time, even the banks reduced interest rate to boost up the economy. Right now, the impact is larger than the recession of 2008. So
Right.
there has to be drastic measures need to be taken. Like we need to promote our own local economy. We need to impose trade barriers, certain trade barriers to reduce the imports and increase the exports, as well as we need to focus more on buy Pakistani goods, like we have seen in the other countries as well. They are promoting their local tourism as well as local products to the other international products. That those measures needs to be taken by the society level as well as governmental level, so we can boost up our economy.
Okay, Ahmed. Let's just conclude this conversation. I would like to ask you, what do you think? What are the solutions or uh, the remedies? How can we cope up with this impact, the negative impacts on our economy? What do you think? What suitable measures shall be taken about it?
Like I've told you that we have need to cut our imports. We
Right.
are already facing current account shortages before that. This government has narrowed it down to $2 billion. What we have seen now is that in previous year, we need to further reduce it down. We need to support local manufacturing. We need to support our local businesses. We need to improve our employment. We need to increase the skills of our labor. That is very much important. Our labor force is semi-skilled or unskilled mostly. We need to improve the skill of our labor so that we do not have to rely on other countries for certain goods that we are importing, like in machinery sector. Our industry is very backwards. We do not have a good electronic industry here in Pakistan. In services industry, we do not have. We are still a developing technological country. We do not have, compared to India, like you see, their overall exports of IT is more than that of total imports exports of Pakistan. We need to focus on that industry.
So
So there
Ahmed,
are numerous sectors we need to focus on.
sorry, I want to ask you. Businesses have been told to follow SOPs, and precautionary measures should be strictly observed. But seeing the overall situation of the industry, I'm not really convinced personally. Are you convinced, being a member of the community, are they following that SOPs, which should be exactly taken? As per my knowledge, like a lot of units, the textile units have been shut down in the past, like in the last 10 days. They were not following SOPs, and 18 to 19 people from a local group have been diagnosed with COVID-19. How do you think about it? Uh, they are like, aren't they concerned about this pandemic, or is money more important than lives?
Obviously, Mohsen, there is a lack of education, lack of awareness in our society regarding the SOPs. We have seen a price hike in the SOPs. Major equipments like mask and gloves and hand sanitizers. There has been shortage. There have been the prices of those items have increased drastically as well. On an industrial level, if you see labor force, they are neglecting those items because of the current weather. The weather has been a great weather factor. The weather right now, if you see, is 40 to 43 degrees Celsius. By wearing those, they feel they do not they feel not good by wearing those medical equipment. Other than that, they work in very harsh conditions. That obviously has made them not adhering to those SOPs.
And Ahmed, what do you think about the production of these healthcare hygiene products? Have you seen like major industries have shifted from their original product line? They are moving towards making masks. They are making sanitizers. They are making like more hygiene product, disinfectants. But are you having any idea about the mafia, the price hike, and the stocking they are doing to manipulate the pricing of these products in this severe time of crisis?
Obviously, that is not a good thing to have a great price hike. Talking about the manufacturing of those medical equipments, Pakistan does not have a great non-woven industry, like you see the melt blown fabric that is used in manufacturing of masks and other protective equipment. There is a small industry here. When there is a great demand of these items, obviously there was a shortage. That is also a reason of a price hike of these items. This necessary. The government should have involved in that one. There should have been a price barrier, like the government should have set out the maximum price limit on these. But we know in Pakistan certain measures are not taken. Not taken. by the government. Our government lacks in adhering to minimum price setting or maximum price setting. So there has always been an issue.
Okay, Ahmed, I would like to ask you one more question. Like it's about it's about economy, traveling. The travel tourism sector of Pakistan was like badly impacted in like last decade due to some other issues. But as far as I know, this government took a very good initiative about promoting Pakistan tourism, and then this Corona stuff hit your economy. What do you think? And I think they have also started it. They have renewed the tourism they have sector. So what do you think? How can we just get back to normal life considering the tourism sector?
First of all, in this year, I think we have to just wait till the pandemic is over. We have to be, stay and follow the precautionary measures. The tourism industry, obviously, with the fewer or very good development in the safety and security of our situation of our country. There have been very few terrorist attacks that we have seen in the last decades or 2 decades. That has been greatly reduced. Our tourism department was booming last year as well. We have a great infrastructure for our northern areas as well as some locations in southern Punjab and Balochistan as well. There has been increase in connectivity. The tourism industry was booming, but with the COVID, I think we need to be, first of all, be cautious till the pandemic is over. Then we can continue with the tourism industry, and
Right.
obviously certain SOPs needs to be followed when the tourism industry is restarted.
Right. So Ahmed, as I know, like you are really connected in the government sector and different departments. What do you think, being a local citizen like of Faisalabad, what do you think the local government should take initiatives? Which initiatives should be taken to cope up with the crisis the local industry is facing? I'm talking specifically for the business community, like not overall. Like the Faisalabad city itself. Just about we are talking about the economy. How can a local government more support or help us to cope up with this COVID-19 stuff?
Likewise, I've quoted earlier the
Yeah.
economies of Thailand. I was just reading the report of KPMG earlier about uh, the what measures the government of Thailand has taken in this COVID-19 impact. Because I greatly follow Thailand has got a similar industrial base as to Pakistan. Their population is also dense like Pakistan. So it is
Right.
a similar kind of situation. So how they are dealing with it is that they have got a reduced interest rate up to 1% only per annum. That is
We
great
have
to
we have one
help the liquidity crisis.
we have one
Also,
question from our viewer. I would like to share it. He says, how will you correlate failure of monetary policies like we were discussing before with the compact, with the impact of COVID-19? So he basically meant to say like the interest rate from 13.5% have been reduced to 8%. So will it do any good to economy?
the financial charges for a business are also great charges in a competitive industry. If we are comparing on international level, we have to see what other countries are doing.
Right,
Likewise, I've quoted that in the interest rates in our neighboring countries as well as in the Far East countries. If I specifically talk about the textile industry, we have seen interest rate to 1%, 2% only in certain countries. Those financial charges that a country will bear are not, our businesses, if they bear, will not be, justifiable in this competitive market.
all right, thank you for that. And Ahmed, one more question. People are like bragging about it, like Pakistan should follow the system or the criteria which New Zealand have adopted. Don't you think their population and our parameters and our figures are different from a very small place like New Zealand? We're a big
Obviously, we cannot compare ourselves with New Zealand. They are a developed country. They have got a very less population density. We cannot compare with those countries. That's why I have not quoted New Zealand in my interview with you so far. I am only quoting Thailand economy, the economies of Thailand, the economies of Far East like Vietnam, or into certain extent I'm quoting South Korea only because of their population density and due to their industrial sector business. That's why
And
I'm quoting those countries.
Ahmed, you don't think like big businesses, companies, and the business sector, they have a facility, they have they have options to borrow loan, to buy credit, and facilities from the bank. But talking on at an individual level, like the local people, don't you think the government should have any criteria or a policy for them to at least run their daily lives in this horrible time which we are facing?
First what I've said is that we have to move on to buy Pakistani products. This buy Pakistani thing has changed the world economies, that when you buy their own country's product, they have changed the overall economy. You have seen their local businesses develop, that obviously increases the employment, that includes that increases the technological aspects, the other aspects related to industry as well.
Right.
What
And what about the education sector?
education, obviously that will include that will benefit with this as well, because when you are going towards industrial economy, then
Yeah.
obviously you need to have semi-skilled labor that needs to have a certain education, certain literacy rate, certain uh, you need to increase certain.
Definitely, education supports the entire economy, but
Yes.
like schools are being shut down, universities are being closed. No one is going
Mm.
to colleges, but still they're asking for fees from But how come? How can they ask for like fees and their what do you call it? The cost they are asking for from the students. How can they survive? A local small family who's earning a certain amount, who's spending a lot of money to his like children's education. How can they cope up with this crisis? Well, don't you think they should have a different policy to reduce, to at least reduce the fee and stuff?
In Pakistan, there is no such thing as you don't know the financials of a business. In Pakistan, there is a black economy or is a hidden economy, that you don't know the financial. You don't see the, if the school businesses, like if they have got certain profits previously, they have had that. I think they should manage those with the fees, and they should obviously cut down the fees and everything. Like if you, it's my personal point of view that certain schools that have already benefited a lot previously, they are very profitable businesses. They should have they should consider about charging very few fee or no fee at all to their students. There should have been certain policies by that, but the government, but the school institutions has already only reduced 20% fees. Obviously, there are some fixed charges that they are facing, like some are facing rentals, some are
Right.
facing the teachers fees as well. So I don't know exactly the equilibrium there, that how much they should have been charging, but in my point of view, 80% is still a lot.
Okay, Ahmed, thank you for a very in-depth analysis on different sectors. And just one more question I would like to ask you is about what do you think? Because this pandemic has been changed to endemic as per United Nations. You must have heard about it. But
Mm.
many people, like there's a certain people in the international community which have supported Pakistan, on the lockdown, the type of lockdown which we did. They have like really supported this lockdown, like normalizing and easing down the lockdown. What do you think? Is it going to be like same in coming days, or we have to go back to the same severe lockdown which we were facing 3 4 months back?
What we have seen from the lockdown is that lockdown was obviously beneficial. We had reduced cases that time and everything, but
Yeah,
understanding the lockdown, we have to see that our government should have equipped itself, the institutions, with the medical facilities. When we saw that we were easing the lockdown, we saw that the hospital facilities were not capable of handling the abrupt rise in the cases. That was a lag. When there was lockdown, the government had that obviously only means that the government is only buying time to ease the impact of the coronavirus cases. That time the government didn't buy the time rightly by not acquiring medical goods that time. That should have been done.
but Ahmed, they're talking about the healthcare sector. We are not really equipped. We are not ready. As you are like running your own corona ward in your hospital facilities, there is a huge difference in the population versus the medical facilities which we have. Like we don't have ventilators, we don't have enough bed spaces, we don't have like any basic facility for the emergency of the people. I've seen a very awkward, very hurtful situations. People are dying on roads. They don't have like hospitals are not even allowing them to use their spaces. So, what do you think? Do we really lag behind the world? Like we are like one of the fastest growing economy in terms of businesses, but we cannot even provide the basic medical facilities. Leave this pandemic aside. There is a lot of being people dying from different diseases already, like from hepatitis, from a lot of diseases like this. What do you think? Are we really on track on this healthcare measures?
Talking about the corona itself, we obviously at the start we were lacking, the basic knowledge. Everyone was lacking in the whole world. We were lacking the basic knowledge of how to deal with it. We were following certain experiments that were carried out in USA or in Italy or in China about how to contain this disease. So starting from that, we had a shortages in the past, and there has been a black market and shortage in supplies of certain medicines like Actemra injections, or hydroxychloroquine medicines that were previously quoted that were previously experimented by some countries. They were in shortage that time. Talking about ventilators, there always has been an issue of a ventilator in Pakistan. With the current, the most effective technology that is introduced for corona, the plasma treatment. With the plasma treatment, there has not been enough donors in Pakistan, and there are no not much. There is no great institutes here. Only one being in Lahore, that is currently carrying out the plasma therapy for the patients. In overall healthcare departments, Pakistan has got a good diagnostic facilities in other areas, and it's cheaper compared to the worldwide level. I think there has been an improvement in the past in this sector. It is still cheaper compared to the other countries, those diagnostic facilities in the price terms.
So, Ahmed, I would like to ask you, like Pakistani people, you know about them, like they're very generous at heart. Although our economy is like, very weak and feeble, but they are very open-hearted when it comes to charity. We have been like Pakistan have given an example in the world of creating a cancer hospital, let's say Shaukat Khana. It was all created by the people's effort, basically. So what I'm asking is, do you think we don't lack monetary resources? We lack mismanagement in our entire system, the structure of the government and different institutions. We can't cope up with this.
That's very true. Pakistan is a philanthropy society. If you see the charitable works that are being carried out by every, you see numerous examples, Eid being the biggest, then comes to Chauka Khanam, Selani, and other great institutions. It is obviously a great benefit to our society. Likewise, in our culture and our religion, Islam, it is obviously quoted several times that if you save a life of a single person, you have saved the humanity. So our people, is a great has a great philanthropy culture going on in Pakistan. The thing about the mismanagement of there always has been an issue in mismanagement. You see on every level, in the government level or local society level, there is a mismanagement that needs to be worked on. Obviously, that needs to be worked on.
So, Ahmed, one very important question which just came into my mind. As you know, the the world order, the entire world order has been like changing. So it's like America oriented and China oriented. So what do you think in coming days to survive? I'm talking economy, like about the economy. I'm talking about the economy. So what do you think? Which Pakistan should like? What options do Pakistan have to go with China or any other allies to enhance their economy? Because this pandemic will stay forever. Like this is what we are like hurting. We are listening from all the sources and stuff because there is no vaccine yet. So, in order to normalize this economic crisis, and what do you think? Which side Pakistan shall take? Is it America? Is it like US side, or should we just go with the Chinese agenda? What do you think? Or we should stay neutralized on the economy because there's a great trade war going on. You know about it.
You know, the major thing, if we put pandemic aside first, how we see the economies, the great economies fighting about is about technology these days. There has been a technological advances in those countries that has greatly, China being a superpower now, quoted by many, because of the technological advances it has achieved
Right.
compared to the other great USA. Like that, what we have seen, we are still lacking in that one. We need to have technological advances in every single field. How we should cope in pandemic situation? We can support our agriculture sector. Our crop yield is very low compared to other economies. Our If we enhance our crop yield by technological advances and research and development in seeds and other things like in livestock as well, that's how we can improve greatly. That
So
we
one
needs to be worked.
one last question. We have like our viewers are sending us questions as well. So he's asking, what is the solution to handle the labor in the scenario when everyone is dying because of hunger?
The situation to if you talk about textile labor specifically, how you
Yeah,
can handle that is that obviously in your industry there needs to be certain SOPs needs to be followed. There needs if you have got your labor, you obviously you need to have your labor registered with with social securities and everything.
right.
They need to be provided good accommodation, good health environment. If you work on those things, and obviously you can manage your labor force effectively if you follow the SOPs correctly.
Thank you very much. We have just taken like a lot of your time. Thank you for your time. You took like you gave us your time out of your precious schedule. One last thing,
Thanks.
anything you like to contribute about anything you like to contribute before we end up this session?
I would again congratulate you to the work that you have done in the recent past about the charitable work that you have been doing. Also, the building of entrepreneurs, helping those new entrepreneurs in Faisalabad society by engaging them together and bringing out solutions and discussing the issues our country is facing, specifically local environment that is facing. Obviously, that's a great job that you guys are doing. I would like to congratulate you again for that.
Thank you, Ahmed. We really appreciate your kind words, and we would like to we love to have you back on one of our sessions in coming days. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank
And
you.
this is the time to say goodbye to all of our viewers and signing off from Global Shapers.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.